listening to
Split the Defense.
Leafs Post-Game Edition.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by the Forest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
And how about them Leafs, boys? Woo. The Leafs defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 7-0. Amazing on this Saturday night in Kyle Dubas's return to Toronto, which I'm sure none of the players actually cared about, but it had a storyline. What a game. So we started out with no Matthews and Brody out, and I was a little concerned. I think we were all a little concerned, but then we get news that Liljegren and Nyes are back in. Not exactly a one-for-one, but we get an NHL defenseman and an NHL forward back, not slotting in AHL players. So this is good. It started off great. It was great in the middle, and it ended great. We had Nyes make it 1-0. Marner made it 2-0. McMahon made it 3-0, and Domi made it 4-0. Then Tavares made it 5-0, and this is unbelievable. Gregor made it 6-0 on the power play. Why is Gregor on the power play? That's what it was like tonight.
Because it's 5-0.
Willie made it 7-0, and there was absolutely no doubt this whole game that the Leafs had this in the bag. They had lots of energy off the start, absolute domination, and Sheldon Keefe was even showing mercy by playing the Leafs' second and third power play unit. You can't even use a third power play unit in the game, and normally you will never see a third power play unit on the ice. Tonight, there was one. It's just like, who's another guy that could go out there that's not usually on the top power play unit? They threw him out. So I have to ask, they beat the Preds last Saturday, but was this the most complete performance of the season? I have to ask that because Samsonovs, they allowed a heck of a lot less shots than they did tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to compare the two. Like, I mean, they are kind of similar teams in my head, just like based on where they'll end up in the standings, probably. Either way, though, like I think this performance, just based on it being 7-0, I like it better. I don't know. That'll be my vote, but yeah, what a game! I mean, it's hard to kind of stay engaged once it gets to like halfway through the third period because. I mean, the first line basically just took a seat. I mean, the top two lines were sitting a lot, right, for the end of the game. But, man, for two periods, just total domination. That Pittsburgh team didn't really see what was coming. And possibly thinking Matthews is out of the game, like it's going to be an easier game for them, but definitely not. Like, not that we didn't miss him or anything, but everyone stepped up. And Domi in particular having to play so high. Not ending up with a lot of minutes, just like I said, in the third, they hardly played. But I was really impressed with having to step up in a bigger center role. Not easy to do for a guy like him who's traditionally like a winger on top lines or a center deeper. But the whole team basically, like it's hard. I can't pick out anything that I want to say negative about it from... Martin Jones getting the shutout and the rest of the team just playing awesome too.
Amazing. 7-0. Martin Jones, first shutout as a Leaf. He's played a heck of a lot of games, and I posted a tweet today saying that maybe we should take a longer look at this guy because with what you've seen in Ilya Samsonov so far this year, you really can't be sold that your two guys going forward are going to be those guys. I think Jones might be in the picture, and you might be looking to move Samsonov to be helping in other areas. Maybe get another cheaper third-string goalie and use that cap space elsewhere to bolster other places in the lineup because that's totally not unheard of or impossible to do. I think another team would take a chance on Ilya Samsonov this year. So you mentioned Domi. Let's start off with Domi. Domi loses another tooth. And both times he's lost teeth in the NHL, they haven't been called penalties. Excuse me.
Jeez, really?
And there were a lot of penalties in this game.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think the most of the season. It has to be.
What was it? A high
No.
stick knocked his tooth right out?
No,
What happened?
took a shoulder to the.
Oh, was
He
it?
was shouldered into the boards, but I think the butt end of the. Steve Dangle pointed out on Twitter that he took the butt end of the stick to the mouth, and that's what knocked his teeth out by Ludwig. And that was when.
You never go butt to
Neist
mouth,
came in
sorry.
and went at him, and yeah, exactly. Clerks too. Yes. Anyways, that was when Nice came in and stirred things up and got into his fight, which we'll get into in a minute here. But sticking on Domi, that was a borderline boarding call, and like I don't know if he was twisted like a couple of degrees more towards those boards. I think everybody would be screaming that that was a dirty hit. He probably shouldn't have slammed him like that. I mean, it was when you're up against the boards, it's one thing to come at them like that, but it's another to be 2 feet away from the boards and have that launching effect. That's just a dangerous play, in my opinion. It's really hard to come up with a rule of where you can and can't hit and what becomes boarding, because like even though it was to the side, he's still flying towards the boards with his head on sideways. I mean, it's not his face, I guess, but like it's still not great. Am I wrong?
No, I mean you're not wrong. I think that there was potentially a makeup call made because there was a few of the other ones were slightly softer. Like I was a little surprised they were laying it on Pittsburgh there for a while. Just I know that high sticks have to be called, but some of them like the one on Malkin where he was pretty upset. Like his stick is getting lifted by the guy who gets like hit in the face. So I mean, I understand his how you could be mad at that, right? So potentially a makeup call. But yeah, the boarding rule is always a gray area, right? Like called more often if it's directly a hit to the back, obviously. But yeah, the side hits aren't any safer. So I just like wonder, yeah, if they're never going to change anything because it's the NHL. So they're just going to leave it as a gray area so that refs can do whatever they want. But it is something like those are some of the most dangerous hits. Especially because sometimes like you're moving pretty quickly, and when you're 2 feet off the boards, like it's. I know that this one wasn't necessarily that. It's like in the corner, coming out of the corner, kind of. But yeah, like sometimes it is. Those are nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. So Marner scored a goal tonight from Nicky Bobby feed, and that literally wasn't even the best part of the play. Domi had a takeaway tonight that was Austin Matthews, William Nylander-esque, and I'd like to see much, much more of that from Max Domi. That was some quick stick work to turn around in the neutral zone, snipe that puck from, I can't even remember who had it on their stick, turn it right back around. He fed it to Robertson. Robertson skates it in the zone across to Marner, and he buries it. The puck was kind of knuckle pucking, and Marner just flips it up into the top corner. But the best play of that was Domi showing his defensive abilities. Later on in the game, he scored a beauty goal himself, and at the end of the night, he ends with his first 3-point night as a Maple Leaf. That has to do a lot with Mitch Marner, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely, and Nyes too. Like the line in general, I think it's something where Sheldon Keefe might go with that sometimes. If he's not liking like what he sees, like I think that's a line now that he will feel comfortable throwing out, especially because on a normal night it's probably a third line, right? So like that's quite the third line. I don't know who you throw up with Matthews. I guess it's Gregor and Yarncroke. But
No, you just bump Tavares a little bit. Just play him and like you know what I mean.
Sure.
Shift maybe whatever. Just to
It doesn't
throw
matter
them
though.
out
Like
there and try. That's just maybe a mix-up thing. I don't think you'd keep it any. Like if he's just going to try it in a game, I think that's how you would do it. If you were, then that would certainly cause issues with where Tavares plays. But I think he's the odd man out in this situation, and he just maybe misses a shift while Marner hops on. Maybe not even misses a shift. Marner's just going to get extra ice time as he hops on with Nyes and. Because
I don't think like it's a major switch though, because Nyes and Marner have to move down with Domi. But I think it's like more of like when Sheldon Keefe's unhappy with the night and he's doing his Sheldon Keefe blunder thing, then like yeah, it's something that he can throw out there wherever it is as a 1, 2, or 3. Like it is something that I bet you that we see.
Yeah, because it was very effective. It looked good, and like if you want to get the most out of Max Domi, apparently you put him with Mitch Marner and Matthew Nyes, because that if you want to tell me that wasn't Max Domi's best night? The stats will tell you wrong.
Oh yeah,
It
in
was a
under
great night
13
for him.
minutes too.
He looked good. He played well. He racked the points up. He was everything we need Max Domi to be. He even gave us a tooth tonight in this game.
Yeah. When you think about it too, just based on how Nyes and Marner play, like Nyes loves to get on pucks and kind of relieves that pressure from Domi, because he is better when he's playing more of like the center playmaker. Like you said, he gives him the ability to be back and like getting takeaways and getting people to turn it over. I think like those three like gelled together nicely and just play style.
Did you hear about Jonas Siegel writing an article about Max Domi?
No.
Did you see that on The Athletic? I haven't read it because I don't have a subscription to The Athletic. Admittedly, I need to buy one.
I will read that after.
But apparently Jonas suggested that Max Domi is hurting the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not only is he not helping, he's hurting the team. And I have to think after tonight that he's eating crow. I don't know if obviously he's probably still true professionals. They stick with their point and they stick with their words. So I'm sure he's still riding with that opinion. But he definitely has to eat it after that. Because, I mean, Max Domi definitely, in my opinion, hasn't been hurting the team. Stats may show otherwise. I don't think they do. Like, can you tell me one area where Max Domi's been way worse than anybody else? Like, I don't think so. I can see some of the turnover chances going back and forth and whatever have you, but that takes three people. There's three forwards on the team when that happens, right? It's not just Max Domi. So I don't know what to say about that. I can't believe that an actual paid writer would go out of their way to say that a player's hurting the team when they're clearly a fan favorite. What kind of a narrative are they trying to spin?
And Jonas is like a really heavy stat guy, so I guarantee he's got some like advanced stat that he is trying to prove his point with. Very poor timing on his part. Like I know he's not can't predict that, but a little harsh especially when he must know that we all want to love Domi, right? It's like one of those where we'll come up with excuses to love him. So I'm maybe not reading the room properly, but I've never took him as someone who is afraid to speak his point, especially like on his podcast and on Twitter. So, not surprised, but he probably does have some stat that shows that Domi's not playing great, but whatever.
Oh, well, he looked great tonight.
Yeah.
Anyways, Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes is a stud. Matthew Nyes
Gordie
has been
Howe
a stud
hat-trick.
since the day that he got
Unreal.
here, and tonight he completed his first Gordie Howe hat trick.
My
That's
favorite
right.
hat trick.
And he had a goal and a fight within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
What
Unreal.
a great start for the kid. He's been out a couple of games with the flu, comes back, and is an absolute truck. His goal on the little dash that he took the feed from Domi, another Domi point there. Passed it up to Nyes. He dashes up the ice, buries backhand on the goal.
Beautiful backhand. Yeah.
Oh, if he could do that more, that would just be wonderful. I loved seeing that. But we've got a couple of pictures here of the Nyes fight. I can't show the video because I'm sure
I got the audio of it, if you want it.
Do you?
If you want it.
But I just wanted to, absolutely. I just wanted to show how raged he was and how clearly he won that fight. He's a big lad. But play us the audio here.
Listen to this.
In for Nyes, and a wrist shot went off a stick and went wide. Rebound into the corner for Domi. Domi is knocked down. Nyes knocks down the knockdown player. The puck is still free. Now here's Nyes taking the gloves off. John Ludwig and Matthew Nyes are going to throw punches at one another. Down go both players. That was rather interesting.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Nyes is going to get the instigator here.
Yeah.
So was that Nyes' first career fight?
I think so. Definitely like
be.
real fight.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm like, I heard Biaxa say on the intermission, like, you don't want to see him doing that a lot, but like, it's nice to see it happen. I wouldn't mind to see it every now and again. for the amount of fighting that there is in the NHL, I wouldn't mind if Matthew Knies was one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like obviously he has a role and a job that's going to do other things. He doesn't have to fully be a fighter, but like look at the rage on this guy. He just goes after him and just starts cross-checking him, pounding him down to the ice. And then when they get into the fight, you could clearly see, I mean, there's a no winner fight, but he won. Like when they barreled over, Matthew Knies is sitting there with a look on his face like he's a bear eating the guts out of another animal or something. Like he's absolutely insane after that fight. What a kid. I love this guy absolutely so much.
Yeah. I think
Right
this is
there.
a part of the like
Right
will
there, he's just
enforce by
throwing him down.
yeah. I like this is like an enforcement by committee thing, right? Like Ryan Reeves is gone. He wasn't really doing it anyway, but you want the mentality throughout the lineup, right? Like I want to see that from Bertuzzi as well.
Yeah,
Not
see, I've never
like not all the time, like he said, but you know, like every now and then, it's great.
I've never wanted an enforcer, CP. I've always
Yeah.
wanted players who can play who also are assholes and sometimes even borderline pieces of shit.
Right. Yeah,
Like-
me too.
That's what I need on this hockey team. We need all these skilled and fancy guys like John Tavares, stoic captain, can get us through the hard times. But like then we also need these little dicks that can fucking piss everybody off when they're on the ice and get into fights and not like Michael Bunting when he's getting in everybody's face and causing problems, but then won't do dick shit all about it, right?
Yeah. For
You
sure.
need guys who actually will, guys who will drop the gloves and say, yeah, okay, I'll actually back up my mouth and my play. So
Right.
I like that. I need more of that, like Matthew Knies, good for him. Domi's shown it. Need it more from Bertuzzi. I truly believe that, and I agree with that, CP.
And actually, Tavares tonight was mixing it up a bit, like not in a fight, but scrumming it away
Yeah,
with the
but-
captain. The captain fight there.
Yeah.
That's as much
he
of
gets
a-
in
of a
scrums
fight
and
you'll
he gets
get from them.
involved, but he's like
Yeah.
a ref when he gets in there.
Yeah,
Like, he
he's
gets
not
involved, but
fighting.
he's
There's
like,
no way,
No,
but-
he's
yeah.
ending the conflict. Like he's never escalating. John Tavares never goes in and escalates anything.
He escalated
Matt-
this one.
Matt
Yeah.
Knies went in there tonight and he was cross-checking the guy in the back. Slam. Wasn't
Right.
twice, and then it gets over. It was and again, and again, and again until the guy can get back up and grab him and they actually fight. And that's what I like. I'd like to see a little bit more out of that from our captain, but I think that's kind of why he holds the captain's job, right? He's the one who's composed.
Yeah, like when Crosby, he took just an extra little poke in there, but
Yeah,
Tavares
yeah, I
wasn't
see
afraid to push him around and get him to the corner.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, he's no chump. He doesn't get punked. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I'm not saying
yeah.
Tavares is soft. He's stoic and he's a
Yeah.
conflict resolver. He's not somebody who's ever going to go in and escalate something to be a problem. He will defend himself and he won't take from somebody else, but he's not going to go in there and, okay, so like you did this, well, I'm going to do this times 2 now because you started it. And that's kind of what we need out of these players. Like Matthew Knies tonight, when Domi got hurt, it could have been a couple of cross checks. That's it. You okay, Domi? No, instead he went hit. You know what? Hit him again. And it's like, that's what I want more of. Just kind of go and smack him around a little bit and back up your teammates, one thing. It's been a really big thing since that whole Brad Marchand thing and the big talk. And it's been nice to see the Leafs really starting to defend each other as well.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
last person to have a Gordie Howe hat trick by a Leaf. Did you catch this stat?
Nope.
Do you know who it is? Do you see it here?
Now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Daniel Winnick on February 21st of 2015.
Amazing.
Daniel Winnick. Do you remember when he was a Leaf?
I do. Yeah. Actually,
I barely. I don't know. Like, jeez.
Yeah. I actually really low key like this player on the Leafs, even though it was a tough time. But
That's awesome.
Daniel Winnick. Yeah, he went on to win the cup with Washington. So he's a
Right.
great player.
oh yeah,
Leaf legend.
Leafs legend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got through Knies, we got through Domi. So the special teams tonight, they actually had another chance, I believe, on the power play. So they were 2 for 6, which would put them, like 33%, I guess, somewhere in there. But they were 40%, 2 for 5 after 2. They got their first 5-on-3 of the season for like half a minute, but they went 0 for 2 at that point, and they didn't really look good through the whole 5-on-3. The Leafs are really not known for getting these 5-on-3s. Like at this point, it's being called out all over the place. Like even the major broadcasts are talking about the Leafs not
Really?
getting the 5-on-3 opportunities. Yeah, like last year, it was like almost a full season before they ended up with a 5-on-3 opportunity.
Yeah. I think it was March or April. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, they were clicking on the power play, but they're also obviously clicking on the power kill. Yeah, that's what you can call it as well.
That's a new one. I like that.
That's what ours is called.
The penalty kill. It's they're 31 for their last 34. That's a 91% power kill.
That is power
That
kill.
is a
using
power kill. Yeah.
I'm using
Yeah.
it.
Now
Yeah,
I
we
see it.
should.
Yeah, I see it.
It's really good. Like they're not bad in the special teams. I think honestly, like for the first time in the Matthews era, where they struggle the most has been 5-on-5, keeping pucks out of their net because they're doing well on the penalty kill. They're not giving up a ton on the penalty kill, and they're scoring on their power plays. So I don't know, man. Special teams really are looking good lately, and you can't really blame them as a problem at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a big storyline that the PK was going to be an issue with the forward group wasn't doing it, and I forget what everyone's point was, but my point was that the Leafs had always been able to figure out a good penalty kill, and Sheldon Keefe and whoever he assigns to that seems to be able to find the players in the team to do it. So yeah, they've been really clicking, especially on the PK. The power play is kind of hit and miss here sometimes, but PK, the power kill has been awesome.
Yeah, power kill's been great. So Bobby McMahon scores his first NHL goal, and I love this player. I hope this guy gets a longer look. Honestly, like yeah, he's gonna be back down in the AHL before we know it, but maybe next year. He's getting older, unfortunately. Like he's not a young prospect. He's like 25 at this point, I think. But he scored like 24 goals last year in 39 games or something like that. He knows how to put the puck in the net, and he finally got his first NHL goal tonight. And I think really a lot of that showed his hockey IQ, along with a good shot. But he didn't go and crash and bang and get in the middle of a scrum. He kind of held back and waited. And when the puck came out, he wasn't skating by or not. It's like in basketball when you have to get your feet set. You like when you go and you're ready to shoot. You can't just be like running. You have to like you land. You want to have your feet set and your shoulders pointing towards the net, right? Like that's how. And it feels like tonight when he picked that puck up, his IQ was to be in the right position and also have his body in the right position to fire that puck right away. Because as soon as he was there, he got the shot off. He didn't have to stop. He didn't have to dust it off. He just got the puck and put it in.
Yeah, I think he has the potential to be a regular fourth liner. I don't think he has much more of a ceiling than that, but definitely like you could get 5 to 10 goals out of this guy, and I think that you shouldn't be worried if he's in your lineup. Like, yeah, great fourth liner for sure.
I think that he has more potential than that. I think he may be a later bloomer, is what I'm trying to say. He hasn't really had a shot, and he put a lot of goals in the AHL. He's got a big frame, and he can skate. So, like, if he can put it together, he's up to 25. Like, maybe the next 3 years are really good of Bobby McMahon, and he might be, maybe the next 5 years, he might get up to, like, a solid third line potential. And if not, like, I could see him scoring 10, maybe even 15 as, like, a fourth liner. Honestly, like, because he's got that shot. He's so big, and he takes it to the net, man. He doesn't dick around or pussyfoot with that fucking puck. He just takes it in and drives the net. And that, you want to go to, you want milk, you go to the store. Or you want bread, you want money, you go to the fucking bank. You want goals, you go to the net. Bobby McMahon, scoring goals. Bobby McMahon, truther. He's going to be a good player. I think he's got more potential than just fourth line. I think even a third line capability and maybe some special teams capabilities going forward in the future.
Maybe I don't really necessarily see that, but not saying that I think he's bad. I think that he's kind of tops out a bit. Like those skills that you say, those are great skills for a fourth liner. But the higher you go up, you maybe want a little bit more finesse. But yeah, I think he's been great so far, and just so happy for him. I was actually a little surprised it was his first goal because we love this guy, and so I like when they said first goal, it caught me off guard a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of a low key fan favorite of the Leaf fans. So
It's because he plays hard, man.
Yeah,
He
for sure.
drives the net. He's got the puck in his stick. He makes plays, and he's like he's not known for his defensive ability, and that's why I say like maybe he's some sort of specialist, maybe like a fourth line guy, or like maybe he gets like he's your like ninth or he's your 10th forward out of 12. Like he's getting 10th in the ice time, and because he's getting a little bit extra on the power play because the guy can fire the puck. Like he's a big, strong guy who can fire the puck. 24 goals in 40 games. That's a lot, right? Like that's if he was to play more than that in the AHL last year, he probably would have scored 30 plus. And then at that point, like the AHL isn't a high scoring league, right? He can do that there. He can come here and he can probably put in 10, 12, guaranteed. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's got potential for at the peak of Bobby McMahon's career, he could be a 15-goal player. So the Leafs came out strong. They went in strong to the first intermission. The Pens came on heavy to start the second. But Jones, that was probably his most stressful part of the game. He was solid through the whole game. Jones is a fantastic goalie, and I think Sammy's looking over his shoulder right now.
He better be.
Oh yeah, he better be. Holy, this was. I found that actually Martin Jones' last performance, he had to make a lot more high danger saves, but just such a consistent, safe goalie. I love how he plays pucks and just so calm in the net versus Samsonov. I think that, or Samsonov, whatever.
Doesn't matter anymore. We don't care. To
Yeah,
get it right.
he's gonna be gone. I think
Sam's
like you
off my team.
you kind of mentioned it earlier about like maybe there's like you could get a cheaper third goalie because that's what Samsonov is becoming. And Antti Ranta, Webby pointed this out to us that on the waiver wire, and like, is he worse than Samsonov has been? Like, I mean, I know that his ceiling's definitely lower, but I just like, I don't want such a wild card. I like goalies that are safe and calm, and you're saving a lot of money if
Yeah, but
Samsonov
why is
isn't on there.
Antti on waiver wires? Is that because Kochetkov too good, or like what's
He's
going on?
great. Yeah. I don't know what's
He is-
up there.
He's the future. It hasn't been great for Ranta this so far. Like they quickly, once Freddie Anderson got hurt, they quickly gave it to Kochetkov because he is their goalie for the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just he hasn't. It's one of those where he hasn't maybe been performing much better than Samsonov, if at all. But I don't think if you're saving $3 million or so, like. I mean, it wouldn't be that much, 2 million, but like that's a lot for cap space reasons. So,
Sure.
I think you still give Samsonov a chance, but like the leash is so short now that if he doesn't come out and put together like a good performance next game, and like I'm not even sure that's enough. Like now that I'm just saying it, it's
Well,
just
because
like
you guys said he got that shutout that one game, and you said you almost wish he didn't because it was like a
Yeah.
fake, like, hey, he's good again, or at least he's on the way. But would that even matter if he came out
I don't know.
and dropped another shutout? Would that really?
I'd have to like be. I wouldn't know until it happened. Like,
And the likelihood of that happening is, yeah.
The thing is that what we want with Sammy isn't this big bang. We don't need to.
No,
We're not asking
like-
for Sammy to show us a big bang. No, we're asking for you to do it 5 or 10 times in a row and just
Consistent.
show us that you're good consistently.
and
That's
you've ran
all
out of
we're
time.
asking.
Yeah.
You've
And
ran
now
out
he
of time
hasn't
to
been
give him that.
consistent. So yeah, for him to go and get another shutout, that would just really upset me because then I'd be like, oh great, now we're gonna have to deal with people thinking that Samsonov deserves another shot and he's gonna be squirreling around the net and losing his net. Like I can't see him going forward like this. So I just want to point out that we did get a question from I think our number one viewer of the show, definitely friend of the show, and Craig's dad, Howard Pearce. He wanted to know, do you think that the goalie trade is more imminent than a defenseman trade?
Yeah,
That's a good question.
I don't think so. I know that it's becoming more and more like we should, but like the goalie market's starting to become kind of hot. There's a few teams that want goalies, and so like that price isn't going to be low. And so as long as
right hand shot defensemen aren't exactly known to be cheap either, CP.
right, and we definitely need that. So I just like you can't go and do both of them really. Like you might get insurance down the road at the trade deadline. and like some sort of goalie, like Ranta, like maybe that's someone that you feel like he can be your third goalie and you're comfortable with that. Another experienced goalie. I don't know if you really want to go out like um, Spencer Martin's like a goalie that like is gonna get way too much. Like someone's gonna give up too much for that guy. And like now LA is looking for a goalie. So yeah, I don't think you want to go down that road personally.
I think it's important, honestly. Like you have to consider that that maybe like obviously you have this money now. Now they have the availability to bolster your defense, and that's great. But that may not be the most important thing going forward. The most important thing going forward, I think, the defense has itself figured out. What you need to figure out as a team, trade regardless, is what the hell are we gonna do with our goalie situation, right? Like the defense has been doing their thing. Lagesson and Benoit haven't been horrible,
No.
and Timmins is even looking decent. Like he's putting points up. That's his job, right? Like he is the John Klingberg that we expected. Yeah, he's going to be kind of defensively bad, but he gets points. Timmins is at least getting the points, right? We knew there was going to be a guy like that in the lineup. It seems to be him. So that's what I'm saying. I think maybe they do have to consider that goaltending might be higher on the list going forward just to figure out. And unfortunately, CP, I think that might mean playing Samsonov a couple more games just to really prove to yourself. Just like, texting your ex a few more times just to really kick yourself on the nuts to figure out, like, yes, absolutely, I should not be doing this. But
I was kind of thinking maybe you play Samsonov, so maybe someone will trade for him. Because like say maybe he's lost our trust now, but if he puts up a shutout maybe or at least some good numbers, then maybe someone else is willing to take a shot, like LA maybe, who is looking for a goalie and maybe would like to give up assets for, or maybe just take him for not that much
Just some
from the
picks,
Leafs
some
versus
simple low
overpaying
picks.
for someone else.
yeah, I think, like, honestly, I think it's not like Samsonov has negative value right now. I don't think that. Yeah, I think that everybody comes to, when it comes to Leafland and the Toronto Maple Leafs especially, like it's a city of overreaction. Like, I
Well,
know,
that's
don't look
true.
at me like that. What, we overreact? CP's like, yeah, okay. What? Yeah, no, we always overreact, and this Samsonov thing would be nothing if it was happening in fucking like Arizona or St. Louis or anywhere else. Like it would just wouldn't. You wouldn't
Well,
hear it.
it happened in Washington and they just gave him up for free.
Yeah,
So like it's not the first
exactly.
time that
We
someone's
didn't
that
hear
the
a big
teams have
story
been.
about it, right? It wasn't a huge big deal though.
It
Is my
was.
point.
It was a big deal. Every writer wrote about it. It was like this is the one of the three Russians that came over at once and was supposed to be one of the best goalies out there, and he's just being given up for free, not being like they didn't qualify him. I just like it was a story for sure.
Yeah,
I
maybe for
just
like a day,
oh
like
yeah, I
when it
mean
happened.
all stories kind of go away,
It
but
really wasn't a thing though. It was like, it was what it
mm,
was. The point is that I think that you have to look into that going forward, closer than you have to worry about things that are working, right? Because you have to figure out this goaltending thing. Like we're in December, it's almost January, then January, it's almost February, and February you're looking at March, and then the playoffs are right around the corner. You don't have any time to trade because the trade deadline's here. You gotta figure out what you need to get yourself further in the playoffs, and that insurance is all we're really asking for right now. So if you can move Samsonov out the door and maybe bring a guy like Ranta in, the only thing is maybe then you have to play by committee and get another guy who can like play, but he's like insurance. You still need insurance because then you're running with kind of like Joe Wall might get hurt, and then you need Jones and maybe two NHL guys that could battle for that backup spot. So that's kind of where it gets sketchy and the whole thing comes in. I just think that the defense isn't as big of a problem right now. I got one more thing. We got William Nylander has at least 1 point in 25 of 28 games this season. Willie hits 40 points tonight.
Huge.
yeah, crazy. I mean,
Does,
and
has his number gone up or down since we talked about his contract last?
I think my opinion has stayed the same. Where I think he's right around the $10 million mark. Like if it was like I would maybe 10.5 is like he's trying to get as much as he can. If he's at 10, that's a like bit of like he just wants to stay in Toronto deal and he makes it on advertisements and but I still think that regardless of where he ends up this season, even if it's over 100 points, that it hasn't been like he hasn't done it so consistently. So I think my opinion stays the same. He's around a $10 million player, just depending on if he wants to give a deal or not, or if he's trying to suck every penny out of the team.
I think honestly, I'm still stick with mine. Like I still think he should be making 11. Like
Yeah.
because the cap's going to be up so much higher. He should be like an $11.5 million player. Two on the open market, 11.5, 12. I think for the Leafs, he should make 11. I think that's just fair game. I think that's because if he's going to sign for 6 years or longer, you have to give him that because the cap's going to be so much higher at that point. You're going to have guys coming right up behind him, and if he can show that he can do this, and you want another 2 or 3 years of this at the minimum, which like he's pretty much proven at this point he's going to rock like this till he's like 30. We'll see how he keeps going when he gets 33, 34. But like I'd probably say 30, 31, 32 probably are all going to be good Willie seasons as well. And I bet you a lot of other teams would bet on that. So if the Leafs want to keep him, they're going to have to keep their bid competitive in that manner.
Yeah.
So if he's got 40 points divided by 28 games this season, and then we times that over 82 games, that's a 117-point season he's on right now.
Yeah.
The man's is killing it.
Yeah.
And he's going to get paid. People who can score 117 points in a season right now are $10 million players, right? 9.5, $10 million. And then that's with the cap at $81 million when it was, or $82 million as it is. It's when the cap's 87.5 or $93 million, those numbers are going to go up. And I just think that his number is probably consistent to what we were talking about before, but at 117 points, it's kind of hard to argue that he shouldn't make at least $11 million on his next contract.
Yeah, I would agree.
The only-
11 is a
Yeah.
realist.
The only reason I think 11 is fair is because Mitch Marner currently makes 10.9. And I just think that you're probably right where it's like more of a respect thing. Where like, we understand that you're right here with these other two guys that are making so much money. So you probably are right. I just hate the fact that they could have signed him maybe in the summer for much lower. And now the number has seemed to just gotten out of hand. Everyone was arguing there's no way it could be 10 in the summer. And now that he's kind of had this, 28 game run, he's, it's gone where it's up into the 11 and 12s, which just seems a little bit too much for me, but I do understand the argument for sure.
So the thing is like when they all got their contracts before, he's making 6.9, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's like it's 7. No, it's 6.9. And then Marner is making 10.9, right? I think when Nylander's new deal comes, he's going to make 11. And I think when Marner's new deal comes, he's probably only going to make 12.
Right.
I don't think he's going to make much 11. More than 12. I don't think he's going to get a raise.
You have to, but yeah.
But I think I think it's going to be 12. It's not going to be 13.25 like Matthews. He's not getting that high. I doubt that's going to happen. They're going to be like, okay, well then put 60 in the back of the net. Like it's just not happening. Play center, win faceoffs. Like no, like it's not going to happen. I just don't think so. But I do think that it's crazy that between the two times that Nylander, we always had these truthers of Nylander. He's a great player. He's great. He just didn't show up. And now, by the time that they've reached their second time, they're a lot more equal than they were. So how much of a gap do you really have to pay back to Nylander as the Toronto Maple Leafs to make up for that over the last 6 years that he's played for them when they gave Marner and Matthews all that money, and now he's proven he is that player. And I'm talking about the respect thing. Why you might end up at an 11 or an 11.5. Even as a Toronto Maple Leafs, and that just might be spite money.
Yeah, not a legit number, like a retro pay, exact calculated number, but just a respect. Here you go. We see
a little bit
happened.
Of fuck you money. Right?
Yeah.
I think there's no history in negotiations, though. There's no like I've been on a sweetheart deal, so you owe me. It's what are you worth? A lot of players actually have negotiated that way and been burnt in the past. So I don't think any player is going into a negotiation thinking like you owe me, because it's never worked out for a few players actually. But yeah, like there is a lot of this where just like Matthews is gonna get paid so much, and you have to give Marner a raise. So I think you guys are probably like right, and I'm off the mark. Can we all just 10 million's a lot of money, like.
Oh yeah, but sure, 700 million is a lot of money too.
Oh, come on. You can't compare. That guy's only making $2 million next year. Let's not get into
fuck,
it.
give me a break. Oh, don't even
That
give me that
contract's
shit.
only $400 million by the end of it.
Yeah, okay, fuck. All right, that's it. That's enough for the show.
I got one thing to say. You'll notice I'm not wearing the Avs jersey. They made a weird decision tonight, and I get it in the sense of giving Georgie the easier game tomorrow because he's needs the confidence maybe. But they played Prosvetov tonight against division rivals Winnipeg and lost big time. He had a really rough game, 6-2. He had 5 goals. I don't know if they had him out in the last, but he had 5 goals against in a 6-2 loss. Either way, not good.
You're mad, eh?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really think they should have played Georgie tonight. A little bit upset. I kind of get it, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to wear it after a 6-2 loss.
Yeah,
No,
fair
we'll have to just see how they
I would have
bounce back
respected
tomorrow.
it.
What's that? We'll have to see.
Just have to see how they bounce back tomorrow with Georgie
Yeah.
and that, and if they can respond and get the 2 points, then it was just how we drew it up. Kind of knew that, like, I don't know, maybe they expected this to be a little tougher, or I don't know what's happening. Maybe it was a heavy, like, they have coaches for all these things to be like sleep schedule, rest coaches, and tell you like, hey, this one's gonna be kind of fucked for us to try and sleep through, and like guys are gonna be shot. And so it's like, yeah, well then maybe we put in our good goalie and like put all our efforts in for the next game because we have a little bit better of a time here, less travel between the two cities or whatever have you. I don't really know, but that's definitely an interesting decision, not putting in your best goalie on your night where your A, skaters are fresh, B, playing a division rival.
Yeah. And then the next night we're playing San Jose, who's known to be a bit of an easy one.
So it's a guaranteed 2 points, right? So like, I don't know, maybe I don't know. That is a weird decision. They also traded Thomas Tatar for a 5th-round pick to the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, I was okay with that. It was like, that was a bad one-year signing. It didn't work out, wasn't working out. No, let's just get him out of here, get some whatever picks, and it works for them too. So
seems like the fresh faces coming up too, they aren't doing so bad, right? So I mean, you fill up from all those guys that are always swapping places in the AHL. Now they'll get more security.
That's right. And the Ranta thing. If we pick up Ranta off waivers, we'll do the Pokemon thing that you always mention.
Gotta catch them all.
Ranta, Kivy Ranta, and Ranta.
That would be so amazing. I would be so happy with that.
It's the whole progression.
I want to see a lot of memes about that too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole Twitter like thread with a whole bunch of them on. If you just like look that up, that's somebody's name on Twitter, and it's just it's that good. It came up with that, and it became a whole thing. And there's a bunch of hockey player Pokemon names. That's a lot of fun. So the Leafs play the Rangers Tuesday. We might drop a secret special super surprise episode between now and then, talking about the rest of the league. Or we might not. But that's why it's super secret special surprise.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be back Tuesday after the Rangers game. They play 7 in Toronto. So we'll be back regular time. Thanks everybody for listening to Split the Defense Hockey Podcast. I'm Webby with CP and producer Ted, and we will catch you after every Leafs game. For now, we are out. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you've gotten this far and you aren't liked and subscribed, like what are you doing?
Come on.
Yeah,
like and subscribe.
Give us the love.
Peace.
Come on, please. Peace.
You've been listening to
Split the Defense.
Leafs Post-Game Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.